family. Peace.
Peace.
We here. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to another session of our uh I guess our book study group. And our current book is Ritual by Patrice. Excuse me, by Malidoma, Patrice Somay. So, thank y'all for tuning in. We're gonna allow a few more people to tune in before we get started.
All right. Yes, I hope everyone's week has been well. The weather has kind of been a little strange, but I'm not complaining about the sunshine whenever the sun comes out. So I've been enjoying that part, and I hope you all have too.
Likewise. And for all of our people who have been reading the book, I hope you've been able to practice or, been thinking about implementing some rituals into your program, to your daily program, to your weekly programs. And, you know, definitely want to hear about some of that. So, everybody tap into the comments and everything and let us know how that's going because this is an action based space, so everything that we learn we want to put it to action. We don't want to just keep it for knowledge or just to spread the knowledge and make it seem like we're super smart. So we actually want to put these things to action.
Absolutely. Okay, hold on, everyone. Oh, we're still at work somewhat. Say hi, Angie. Hi. This is Angelina Simone. This is our goddaughter, your favorite homeschool student right here. But yes, she's hanging out with us. She knows we have something, she knows we on doing something important. So she has to make her presence known. Oh.
So I guess we can dive into it and, we can start our check-ins. So I guess I'll start the check-ins. Again, I'm Bomani Bo. My week has been going well, busy as usual. I got some time to read and reread this section a couple times. So I'm glad to be able to come share some of this stuff with you all. But my week has been going well. I had a good week, doing a lot of stuff. I'm mentally good right now. So, how was your week, babe?
You're so rude, Angie. But anywho, my week has been well. Again, school has been pretty a breeze this week, so that's been good. Looking for, like I said, this reading has been really good. I've been enjoying it. It definitely lets you know if you are or not in alignment as you're reading it. So I feel like I'm in alignment when I read this book, as Asia said last week. So it's just getting better and better. So I'm always looking forward to seeing y'all every Tuesday. And thank you again for tapping in with us.
Awesome. All right. So this week the two sections. Oh, real quick, Angie, you wanna tell us how your week's been?
Look, no, right there.
How's your week been? You wanna say thank you for everybody? Figured that.
Everybody out there, there's a $20 bet on this little girl to get her to say thank you. She only speaks in nouns. We don't understand right now, but the saga continues. We'll let y'all know next week how that went.
Awesome. So this week, the two sections were titled "Ritual: The Anti-Machine," and the next section was titled "Pain and Ritual." So again, we're going to talk about how ritual and the machine are dialectically, or they're opposed to each other. How ritual and the machine, or the machine life, are in direct opposition to each other, right? Both can coexist, but it seems that, especially in our society, in this Western dominated society, that the machine dominates our time, our space, and it gives us a fast pace where we're never able to really slow down and think and have some time to self and to build self, or to create or do ritual. So this week, that's what this section was about. When we talk about the machine, he talks about the machine in a governmental way, right? The machine in politics, and he talks about the machine as it relates to work and how we work and how work is so demanding. So these are the And then in the section pain and ritual, we're going to discuss. He discusses how pain is a manifestation of the need to change, right? And this is what the Dakar people in their tribe believe. So we're just going to be discussing that a little bit too. Uh, but I agree a little bit. I feel like our people are uh, in pain, in manifesting the negative attributes in our community that we see. So we'll talk about that and how ritual can help heal some of that. How ritual can help, create the space where we have time to think and slow down and care for ourselves.
Peace, Olarifa. We love you and hope that you and Amber get better. We need you out here, but definitely sending healing energies you and Amber's way.
Awesome, awesome. All right. So first, what you want to bring? Bring the text up on your phone.
Yes, I can do.
So again, when Malidoma talks about ritual, he talks about how it's rhythmical. If I said that right, it has rhythm, and the pace of ritual slow and steady and thoughtful, right? Living in this society, it has taught us to be fast paced. We always press for time. We never have time for anything as it relates to ourselves. All of our time is dominated by the machine. All of our time is dominated by going to work. All of our time is dominated by, the little time we do have outside of ourselves is dominated by family and just survival. And we've, culturally lost the way of ritual, and the benefits of ritual, right? And when we talk about we talked a little bit last week about the benefits of ritual and what that means to do ritual and how we, use Sankofa to get back to our ways to help liberate ourselves in the future, right? So again, you want to add anything just to that part, or how did you feel reading, or what's your thoughts about the machine in ritual?
Oh, I definitely, like I said, I like the way he writes. I feel really connected to it because like I said, he's speaking to spirit. How about that? So I really understand him because he said even in a ironic kind of way, the machine does have rituals. That's kind of how they operate. It may not be a positive ritual how they go about their means of production and all that stuff, but it's ritual, no doubt, that you're clocking in every day for them and that they have to do these things. So I just thought that was very, very interesting. And I guess when we start sharing the text, I definitely had a little part in there that I wanted to share with everybody because it was very profound to me. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Awesome. So the first part of the text I want to share, maybe discuss and see if we can get some feedback from our viewers. It says, it is not possible similarly to associate the hasty grinding wheels of the machine culture as it echoes or soundings of ritual. Ritual is not compatible with the rapid rhythm that industrialism has injected into our life. So wherever ritual happens in a place commanded or dominated by the machine, ritual becomes a statement against the very rhythm that feeds the need for that machine. It makes no difference whether it's a political machine or otherwise. So again, when we're in those spaces and we want to participate in ritual or participate in anything that has to do with self, it's hard with the machine. It's hard to I think about my Muslim brothers and sisters with their rituals and their prayers. They pray 5 times a day, but it's so hard to do that when you're machine dominated, right? Because that machine needs you, right? We need ritual. We need space for us. We need physical, mental, and spiritual space for us. You know what I'm saying? And the machine needs us, right? And they need us to be productive, right? And they need us to be productive for them, right? Productive for the machine, productive for that business, versus being productive for ourselves and healing ourselves, so on and so forth.
Right.
You know, uh, so again, you want to add to that, babe?
Well, no, I think I was just really further explaining how I was, what I was talking about, how the machine does need.
Yeah.
does run on ritual, but it means different things to different people. That's why he's emphasizing what it means to, his tribe and what it should mean for us as just African people, period. I don't think he's really not concerned with, but we run on a different frequency than everybody else. So I think he's really speaking to us staying true to where our rituals come from.
Right.
And those
Right.
rituals are little to, majority of the time they're positive. You know what I'm saying? Even
Yeah.
if you are going to face the opposition or stuff, it's in positivity that you just need
Yeah.
to be protected in the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah. So
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Ritual has, culturally, historically dominated a lot of our lives. And even today we practice a lot of ritual, right? We blowing out birthday candles,
Mhm.
we're
Anniversaries.
anniversaries
Mhm.
and holidays and us funerals and how we go about those funerals, right?
Mhm.
Again, how we greet each other, how we greet people. So again, we practice ritual and it's natural to us and it feels good to us.
Mhm.
But we want to intentionally harness that energy that comes from ritual to help free ourselves, heal ourselves, liberate ourselves, right? Because again, this space is about action. So again, we don't, you know, he talks about people who use ritual or the spirit in a negative way,
Mhm.
right? And he talks about how people manipulate these words to the betterment of themselves, and they'll say things like, the spirit made me do it, right? And these are the negative aspects
Mhm.
when we're talking about like spirituality. Period. These are the scary aspects where people can also use in a negative way what he was talking about. The spirit made me do it, or my ritual involves me to get a human blood sacrifice, so I got to
Mhm.
go out here and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And
Uh,
as he said, when you do those type of things, though, be ready to be prepared for the consequences that
right,
come along
right.
with doing it in a non-principled way. So that's very important as well. Even with us, us healers and those of us who do rituals as well, it's important to have a pure heart when you're doing these rituals. Even if you're trying to keep some stuff at bay, you can't go to your altar with any negative thoughts or spiteful thoughts inside of your body and think that just doing that ceremony is gonna get it.
Right,
It's
right.
not. Oh,
Mm, Um, yeah, so and if we are, that's what you want to respond.
oh, peace, Mama Nia. Says she can't join us tonight. I hope the session is yes. The session is already amazing because you already put your blessing on it. So thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah. So definitely the next aspect, the next part he talks about is, and if you study history or know anything about our history, we know that once colonization started to take place, once imperialism started to take place in Africa, you can see the shift
Mhm.
from a ritual to machine, right? You can see the shift from culture, from a culture of ritual, a culture of music and dance and livelihood and self improvement and community, right? Of principle to a machine like state,
Right.
right? And as he talks about with his tribe and other tribes in Africa, you couldn't do both, right? So if once the machine took over, it's like there's a dependency on the machine now, right? There's no longer a dependency on honoring the ancestors. There's no longer a
Right.
dependency on doing the harvest festival rituals, so on and so forth. And as we talked about in our previous sessions, when you're not doing your rituals as prescribed or as needed, it can cause physical detriment within the tribe community, so on and so forth. And this is a whole reason why we're kind of exploring this book, because uh it seems like us Westerners, specifically us Western Africans over here in America, uh we suffer from a lot of the ails that probably can be
Yeah.
cured through some ritual,
Right.
right? Through some collectivism, right? Through some communalism. So again, if you study history and you've seen the history of these folks, you see that when the machine comes in, it automatically takes our culture, our religions, our
Language.
rituals, our
Yeah.
language, and whatever the language of the machine, that's what we learn. That's what we do, and that's what we pass down to our children. That's why we have this work
Mhm.
ethic, like work, 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 work. And then we're trying to repair, You know what I'm saying? Our children when they're in their 30s and they're overworked and we're trying to prepare them. Now we're telling them to calm down and breathe and
Mm-hmm.
meditate. Whereas these are some of the things that we should have been practicing in the first place.
Right. I agree. And again, I go back to like I said, these colonizers and settlers, they knew, like I said, when they went to those jungles and the different tribes and villages in Africa, and they saw what ritual does for us. It makes us very
Yeah.
powerful. They know this. We just don't know this. And that's the thing. So we just have to, but that comes with, again, like you said, the elders doing their job, the middle aged people doing their job, and the children even doing their job. So we all have to work together. But we know, like I said, we know the ritual is extremely important to our culture, and hopefully with this reading too, we can get more into it
Yeah.
with more purity and understanding.
Right. And he talks about how the machine has a pull, right? A gravitational pull that pulls us in, that sucks us in. And usually for us, it's financial gain, right? It's having a job to be able to survive. But the machine pulls us in where we become dependent on that machine, right? And he talks about how the machine, right? Whether we're talking about politics, whether we're talking about business, he talks about how that machine will never truly satisfy all of our needs, right? It's just not going to satisfy our needs. It's not going to please that inner part of us that ritual, culture, and collectivism within our people would be able to handle. Period. You know, and again, our people always have practiced rituals. I mean, and the more technologically advanced we get, the more you see our people pulling away from ritual, right? Pulling away from our traditional herbal systems that we using, that we used to use, our traditional system of holistic health, right? That we used to use, our the way our big mamas used to relate to the babies, to the children, the rituals that were, the old school sayings that were passed down from generation to generation. As you can see, once we start getting into the 90s and 2000s and big mamas were getting younger and younger, we lose a lot of those rituals. A lot of this stuff depended on, especially before the technological advance that we've had, a lot of this stuff depending on word of mouth or oral tradition, right? We share knowledge through speaking, through oral tradition, through stories. And once we lost a lot of those griots, or once we lost, like Z was just speaking about, once we lost, the ways of the elders, there was nobody to pass these things down, right? And we've also become, I know we're really superstitious, but we also become a people who, rail against spirituality. We rail against superstitions. We think that it's a bad thing. But in every part of society, you see people practicing ritual through their superstitions, right? If you sit and watch, if you ever played a sport, you have people on your team who do their pregame rituals, right? They can't get it right. If they're not able to complete their pregame rituals, they don't have a good game, right? If they're not able to do they, you see LeBron James and all the stars doing their pregame rituals. That's because I mean, it may not do nothing physical, it may not do this dramatic change in them, but guess what? It builds their confidence, right? So there is something there, right? So again, if we're doing ritual within our community, individually, as a family, as a community, as a nation, man, imagine what our confidence would be like, right? It will be the LeBron James of the societies because we're practicing these things, and it does have a benefit to our spirit. Point blank period. Uh,
Okay, my bad, y'all. I'm still tending to after school care things, but I'm back.
right. So again,
So,
we're still just discussing, the anti-machine, the machine and ritual, and how it's opposed. But I was saying that you also find ritual in every aspect of life. Just
hmm.
look at sports and look at the rituals they
Oh
do.
yeah, it's
The
crazy.
pre-game rituals, the post-game rituals,
Fraternities and all that. So
fraternities.
yeah, yeah, we get it. Yeah.
Even people that spectate have ritual. People put on they same
Favorite
dirty socks,
jersey.
favorite
Yeah.
jersey, never wash the jersey, so on and so forth. Now, is there some like physical power in that? Maybe not. But guess what? That person feels as if it is. That
Hmm.
person feels that connection when they got their jersey on, their lucky jersey on. and they team score a touchdown, they feel like they had something to do with that, right? So imagine if all of our African, all of our people over here, and all of our people in the diaspora were putting on our jerseys and rooting for each other, and we have a win. Imagine how we would celebrate those little wins, and imagine the confidence that we'll install in our children, in ourselves, in our peers, our comrades, so on and so forth, uh, through ritual, right? Through things that we already see, uh, the things that we already do within our society, right? And that's not even talking about creating new, but we do want to create new rituals to be able to help enrich what we have, enrich us, enrich our spirit, you know what I'm saying? And to be able to free us, to be able to free our minds, to free our bodies, to free our spirits, right? We want to be able to become free thinkers. And only through time, only through some self-reflection and being able to slow down can we think, right? If we're so tied up in the machine, all we can think about is getting back to work, right? Getting back to the machine. How can I continue to improve the machine versus improve self? So how are we going to create free thinkers and our next inventors if they never have time to think for themselves, right? Our children, if we take on the ways of the machine instead of the ways of our culture and our ancestors, our children, they become the machine. The machine becomes their guide, the machine becomes their ritual, right? And they live their whole life, by the machine, ready to work, ready to grind, never becoming the beautiful people that they're meant to be, never becoming them. They become the machine. I feel like I'm being repetitive right there, but I think that's important to reiterate. So I'm just gonna share this last paragraph of this section of anti-machine. And again, instead of reading, I just talk a little bit about it. So again, there's a us over here, especially in the diaspora. We're what he talked about. We're wounded, right? And in order to heal our wounds, we have to go through the process of healing, right? And ritual, right, rituals can fill that void, right? So if we're taking steps of self-help, self-improvement, self-love, and making that a practice, making it become ritual, we will love each other better. We will physically get better, right? We'll literally be able to get the sickness out of our community. And I'm talking physical, mental, and spiritually, because our community does have a sickness on it that we can help alleviate, right? And as you can see, I mean, and we have examples of it. We see the big mamas who used to lay hands, right? We see the aunties in the community that's able to come outside and calm everybody down, right? They could lay everybody down faster than somebody with a gun can when Big Mama come outside, when Auntie come outside, when that respected person in the community come outside, right? And that respect is ritual, right? We ritualistically respect our elders, those who have ascended to that position of elderhood. Uh,
Right.
so again,
And then with this here, this is a section that I actually like, that I wanted to share. Is he said no matter how much, like Bo was saying, like we do, we go to work just to do to take care of the basic necessities of life, which is actually, I mean, it's sad when you think about it, but hey, that's part of the machine. So we go to work every day, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of us are not doing what we love. And our company that we work for usually isn't doing anything to better our community either. But at the same time, it's survival. And like he said, it's rare that someone even in his village goes to the city and they, totally separate from tradition or ritual. And he used the example of, you can see it when people pass away in the city. They don't bury them there. They bring them all the way back to their village, and everybody from that village within that city goes back with them, and they take that voyage home together. So it's still, even though we live in the city, that don't mean we have to get you a casket and do this and this and that. That's not our tradition. We could always go back home. And also, I'm gonna read this because it was very, very profound. How he said that working in the machine, ritual is very much necessity because it not just rejuvenates you, but you need it because your spirit is kind of wounded after you've been working for the machine. So he says right here, it says very few sever themselves from home. Periodic adherence to proscribe rituals while dwelling in this industrialized culture is the medicine with which to dress the wounds and repair the deformities brought on by the might of progress. I want to read that again because that was deep. When I was reading, this is the kind of thing to make you talk to the book, like that type of deep. So again, as referring to us people working for the machine and needing ritual to, rejuvenate us, he's saying it says very few sever themselves from home. Periodic adherence to proscribed rituals while dwelling in this industrialized culture is the medicine with which to dress the wounds and repair the deformities brought on by the might of progress. So we need these rituals to be our ointment, so to speak, after the modern world, the progress of the modern world and beat us down and all that. We still got to come back home to be repaired because the modern world don't have no holistic nothing for you to do. They're not trying to repair you. They want to break you down actually, so they can move on to the next person. So I just thought that was a very very profound thing he said and how he said it, and it makes total sense to me.
I say. And again, that's a good segue right into the next part. And it's what is it called? What is it? Pain and ritual.
This is yeah.
So that's a segue into the next part. Um, and he talks about in the first part here, he talks about how our senses are a device of communication. Knowing oneself, knowing your feelings, using your senses to know yourself is something that our people have been doing for centuries. It's innate in us, right? And he talks about the feeling of pain and what that means traditionally in his tribe. And he talks about the presence of pain symbolizes the need for some change, right? So and he could be talking physically, metaphorically, spiritually, right? The presence of some pain. If you're depressed, it's something in you that needs to be released, right? Uh, it's your body talking to you. It's your spirit talking to you. If our community is in distress, if our community is in pain, we need to get rid of some stuff. We need to do something to repair, right? To repair those wounds that you were just talking about. So again, in the first part, he just talks about knowing oneself, and if you feel something, it's time to take some action
Right.
against it.
Or do some type of progressive, like you said, intentional progressive action. And then to go, deeper into what he was saying, pain is like, the old not wanting to let the new come in. And that's where you start feeling pain from. So if let's just use jealousy for an example. If you have jealousy inside of you and you trying to put love inside of you, jealousy don't want love to be there. So it's a constant struggle between the two. And he's saying now that's where the feeling of pain comes from, the constant struggle of the old and the new kind of going back and forth with each other, until one gives in. You got to feed one in order for the other one to kind of diminish. And sometimes you got to balance it because sometimes both of those things need to be there, but you just have to find that balance. So I like the way he broke that down as well, where actual pain comes from inside of your body in a spiritual sense.
Right. And again, we're talking spiritual because ritual is the communication in spirit form, right? It's communicating with the spirit. It's enriching the spirit through ritual, right? So again, ritual and spirituality go hand in hand, right? We're talking about the unseen. We're talking about, what I'm saying, again, we're talking about our feelings, right? We're talking about being intuitive with our community, with ourselves, so on and so forth.
And being between two worlds, this earthly one and then the spiritual one.
Right. So right here, it says, thus, when an initiated member of the community registers communication through pain, it is a signal that the soul is in need of some communion with the spiritual counterpart. In other words, the soul is moving old furniture out and bringing in new furniture. Whether that eventually works out well is another question. We do not always allow ourselves to work through pain. More often than not, we think pain is a signal that we must stop rather than find its source. Our soul, our souls do not like stagnation. Our souls aspire toward growth, that is toward remembering all that we have forgotten due to our trips to this place, the earth. In this context, a body in pain is a soul in longing. To shut down the pain is to override the call of the soul. When this happens, it is a repressive measure taken override the call of the soul. When this happens, it is a repressive measure taken against oneself, which has somber
Mm-hmm.
consequences.
I say yes.
So
That was
again,
another good one.
no, it is. It's real good. And then the
Yeah.
last is one, maybe one and a half more paragraphs to that. But again, it's healing, right? When
Mm-hmm.
we're in pain, it's again, when I think about this section, I think about the shadow work that we do as adults now, as it relates to our past and the pain that we've felt and received, and it's affecting us in this way, and we've never had the outlets to deal with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? We never had the culturally competent aspects to deal with the pain that been has been inside of us, right? And when we have this pain again, there's some stuff that need to be rearranged and kicked out. If we have this pain and we suffer through it, we are not us. We're not us to our full selves, right? We can't benefit our community in the way that we want to, and we're in torment on the inside,
Right.
right? So this is, getting to the root of the causes, getting to down to what's causing this pain is key for us as a people, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
key for us to be able to heal, or at least start the healing process,
Right.
right?
It's not. It's not so much to ask, your higher power to actually take the pain away. It's like more so asking them, where is this pain coming from, and how can I
Grow
take
from
those
it.
steps, yeah,
Uh,
to fix it or grow or kick it out, or what do I need to do
mhm,
with this, but not just take it away because it's
mhm,
gonna keep coming back around
mhm.
because you haven't learned anything. So.
And the next aspect, it talks about how it's a learning
Mm-hmm.
process. So when we go through this process of breaking it down, where is it coming from? How am I feeling in the moment? How can we heal from this? And usually through community rituals, we can heal. We can start that process. We can feel good, right? But if we never address it and we never kick it out, what I'm saying, we can't learn from it, we can't grow from it, we can't make it to where we're not going to pass it down to
Mm-hmm.
our children, right? These same traumas and pains that we suffer from, because we can't even start the process of healing, start the process of communal responsibility for each other, so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. So again, once we start healing from this pain, we learn from it and we become better people. We become a better people for each other. Once you start healing from the pain that resides inside of you, physically, mentally, spiritually, you're a better brother, a better sister, a better wife, a better husband, a better community person. You're more apt to loving, right? You're more apt to saying good morning to people when you feel good. You know what I'm saying? And you're able to say, I've been somewhere, I've been through some pain. I know what that feel like. I know what it is, right?
Right.
But to be able to overcome that.
And guide others, and when they're dealing with their pain. It's one thing to be sympathetic and another one to be empathetic to somebody. So, during those type of situations, you definitely want to have people who are more empathetic than not, because they actually know the feeling that you're going through. And like I said, they do have the key or do have the steps or can point you in the right direction where to start that process.
Right, I say. So I guess we could read these last two parts and you know, see if anybody else wanna add anything, but tap out. It says it is possible to say then, excuse me, it is possible then to say that pain is good, primarily because it is a call to growth. The Dagara elders would say yes. They believe that a person who has suffered is a person who has heard pain, or one Tao. The person hears the pain as a creative action, connecting that person with his or her highest self, which prescribes an alternative to spiritual death. So pain at least teaches us something. It is commotion, emotion, and a call for rebirth. This teaches that one must return to a mode of living that begins with life itself. and it draws from nature and the cosmos, life essence that seek to align itself with the existing powers. In the last part, it says, such living is what ancient tribes have adopted for thousands of years. And its success can be seen in the fact that in it, room for the entire person to exist. This means that the world of progress, with all its consuming tendencies, is an essentialist that is a essentialist that feeds on anything that lives, turning the human into an indentured servant, turning the human into an indentured servant fed with things material, yet starved for everything else.
Mhm.
In this context, ritual is a return to the ancient with a plea for help directed to the world of spirit.
And I just want to read that this little part right here. It says, okay. So it says, this means that the world of progress, with all its consuming tendencies, is an essentialist that feeds on. Yes, he can. I just want to emphasize this because it was like, this is another deep one that made me talk to the book. But yes. So, okay. So this means that the world of progress, with all its consuming tendencies, is an essentialist that feeds on anything that lives, turning the human into an indentured servant, fed with things material, yet starved for everything else. It's like we like I said, we think getting all of these things or having as many things as possible is what's successful. But like he said, you starving for love, you starving for your spiritual self, you starving for
I
tradition, you
say.
starving for all of these natural survival skills, but you have things. So that was I like that too. That was deep.
Nah, and a lot of times we can see that, with our parents and just in this society, how we grow up or how we are with our children. We're constantly on the move, constantly at work, constantly trying to build our businesses in the name of money, in the name of wealth, right? But we never take that same energy to build relationships with our family, with our wives, with our children. I know so many people who don't even know their children, but they know everything about their supervisor, their boss and manager,
Or their favorite team.
their favorite team. They put all that energy elsewhere. We
Mhm.
become, again, the machine gives us those teams to entertain us, right? But imagine if we took all that time to improve self, we took all that time to improve community,
Right.
took all that time to love and get to know one another, right? And now I'm not talking about as to get to know your community. I'm talking about get to know your children, get to know your wife, get to know your husbands, so on and so forth, because the machine doesn't allow us to do so.
Right.
Again, the
Right.
machine, he basically said the machine life makes you a slave to the machine, and your spiritual and your mental is starved. You have no time for creative expression unless it's in the name of the machine.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll allow you to, what I'm saying, use your creativity to benefit this company, right? But I don't think you're gonna have time to use your creativity to benefit yourself.
Right. To have your own business or
Start your own
anything.
business,
Right.
right? And even in the aspect of starting your own business, it's still machine dominated because we got to make it tick. We got to keep going. We got to do this. The sister was talking about, one of my friends on Facebook was talking about how, she has to keep up with so much back work on her website. Saying got to keep people clicking the website, got to keep people doing this. So even business owners are, machine dominated. They don't have time, especially business owners, entrepreneurs who are putting in that work from home. What I'm saying? It's still hard to find time for self. Like this is your business and it may feel good. Hopefully you're doing something that you love. But if you're not, if it's just like a business, it's again, I'm just trying to get this money the best way I know how. And again, sometimes that causes us to get away from who we are, where we come from, the things that our ancestors have prescribed for us.
That
Right?
have worked. These are things that have worked for us.
Hey, and again, the whole, one of the whole expressions of this book is to, that we are a people that are in spiritual need, right? And through ritual, right, or what Spirit House has coined CPR, culture, practice, and ritual, we can heal, right? We can come out on top, you know.
Shout out to
Uh,
the Spirit House ladies.
yeah, I love y'all, sisters and brothers over
Yes, we
there.
love y'all.
So yeah,
So yeah,
I
well,
think
no, go ahead.
I was just going. I think that wraps our discussion up.
Yeah.
You know, this we're trying to keep the sections real short and brief so everybody can read it, reread it, and join in on the
Yeah.
conversation. So we hope to see everybody here same time next week because we gonna be here for the show. And you
Right.
want to let everybody know the next parts, or you just gonna post it?
I'm gonna post it as well. But the next part of the book is ritual, ceremony, and us, and we're gonna read that whole section. It's a good little section to read. So we'll just do that part and then come back next Tuesday and
Are we
discuss.
stopping right here?
No, we're gonna go
All
see
the
because it
way.
goes all the way to right here.
All
This
right.
is yep.
So we're gonna stop at the hidden space
Uh-huh.
and ritual.
Yeah.
So again, if you seen this video, man, Black Power, Black Love, Black
We
Unity,
appreciate
we
you.
appreciate y'all. Please like, share, subscribe, whatever. Leave a comment, do something.
I say,
But we
let's
love
get
y'all
free.
and appreciate y'all. Let's heal. Let's get free.